Good morning everyone. Today we are going to study on bacterial structure, mainly spores, cyst, sheath, prosthecae, protoplasm, spiroplasm, polytin granules, etc. Sheath. Sheath are commonly seen in bacteria living in aqueous environment, mainly in freshwater and marine environment. And sheath are formed by bacteria that are living in chains or trichomes. That means more than one bacterial cell is seen associated with each other to form long chains or trichomes. And these chains, they are enclosed within a hollow tube, and this hollow tube is called sheath. And this sheath can be visualized with the help of an electron microscopy when some of the cells present in this chain get separated from the main chain. So the sheath, they are usually seen associated with some metal hydroxides like ferric hydroxide or manganese hydroxide, which helps to strengthen the sheath. So sheath is a hollow tube which form an outer covering around a chain of bacterial cells which are living mainly in aqueous environment, and this sheath can be visualized when some of the cells inside the chain will get separated from one another, and this sheath it can be protected or can be strengthened by means of ferric and manganese hydroxide. Next is spores. So we know bacteria produce both exospores and endospores. Endospores are spores that are produced by bacteria within their cell, and these structures, they are unique to bacteria, and this endospore, they are thick-walled structures, and they are usually only one endospore per bacterial cell, and they are metabolically inactive, and when appropriate favorable conditions come, this inactive or the dormant endospore, they become active, they germinate, and they will form a new bacterial cell. And these endospores, they are usually produced by the bacteria that is living in nutrient rich media, or they are at the end of their growth cycle. They might be either in their stationary phase or at the death phase. So before attaining the death, they are producing these endospores, and when favorable conditions come, these endospores became a new vegetative cell. And examples of bacteria producing these endospores are Bacillus and Clostridium species. Then features of endospores. So various factors such as aging and heat treatment are needed to activate the dormant spores. So in order to activate the endospores, heat treatment and aging process should be needed. Then these endospores, they are extremely resistant to various environmental factors like desiccation, then radiation, heat, staining, and disinfecting chemicals. So endospores, they are highly resistant, and these endospores, they contain large amount of dipicholinic acid. It is otherwise known as DPA. So dipicholinic acid is actually a component of bacterial cell wall, and endospores contain large amount of this dipicholinic acid or DPA, and this DPA, it is usually seen associated with calcium. So the DPA calcium complex, it play important role in providing the heat resistant to this endospore. So endospores, they are highly heat resistant, and we know that Clostridium is a bacteria which is a thermophilic bacteria, and the spores of this thermophilic bacteria can resist high temperature. Even boiling at 80 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes will not kill the Clostridial spores. So that much heat resistant capability are given because of the presence of this dipicholinic acid calcium complex. Exospores. Certain bacteria produce exospores. These exospores are produced outside the bacterial cell, and they are formed external to the cell by means of budding, and they are also desiccation and heat resistant, but unlike endospores, they do not contain DPA. So the difference between the exospores and endospore is that endospores are produced inside the bacterial cell, whereas exospores are seen outside the bacterial cell, and they are formed by a process called budding, and they are also although they are heat and desiccation resistant like that of endospores, but they do not contain the DPA, which is very common in endospores. And example of bacterial genus that form exospores are Methylocyanus. Methylocyanus are methane oxidizing bacteria. Next is cyst. Cysts are dormant and thick-walled structure, and they are also desiccation resistant forms, and they are developed by the differentiation of vegetative cells, and they can later germinate under favorable conditions into a complete bacterium. Cyst resembles endospore, but they are different from endospore in their structure and chemical composition, and they are less heat resistant as compared to that of the endospore. And example of a bacterial genus that forms cyst are Azotobacter. Azotobacter are free-living nitrogen fixers. So cyst, they are dormant as well as thick-walled structure. They are similar to that of endospores, but they are less heat resistant when compared to that of endospores, and they can germinate into a vegetative cell when suitable conditions come. Okay, an example is Azotobacter. Next is Prosthecae. Prosthecae, they are semi-rigid extension of the cell wall and cytoplasmic membrane. So they are just like a bud, but they are connected with the bacterial cell wall as well as the cytoplasmic membrane. And they are characteristic features of aerobic bacteria that are living in freshwater and marine environment. The diameter of the Prosthecae, they are less than that of the bacterial cell, and Prosthecae, they helps to increase the surface area of absorption, so that bacteria that are living in dilute environment has more surface area to absorb the nutrients. And this Prosthecae bacteria, they form new cell as bud at one end of the process. In some bacteria, this Prosthecae, they can form a new cell at the end of the Prosthecae. And in some other bacteria, at the end of the Prosthecae, they have an adhesive substance that help to attach the bacteria to surfaces. So that is the main function of Prosthecae. So Prosthecae, it serves three main functions. First function, it increases the area of absorption. Because these Prosthecae are common in bacteria that is living in aqueous environment. So it is a dilute environment, and this bacteria has to absorb maximum nutrients from the dilute environment. So this Prosthecae increases the surface area of absorption because it is actually an extension of the cell wall and cytoplasmic membrane of the bacterial cell. And the second function is that in some bacteria it is forming a bud at the end of the Prosthecae. So this bud can germinate into a new bacteria. And other function is that in some bacteria, this Prosthecae is having an adhesive substance at the end which helps to attach to the surface. So that is about the Prosthecae. Protoplast. Protoplast is actually the bacterial cell without, mainly the gram-positive bacterial cell without the cell wall. So protoplast is a portion of the bacterial cell. It is consisting of the cytoplasmic membrane and the cell material bounded by it. So the cytoplasmic membrane and the cytoplasm and other organelles or other components that are present in the cytoplasm, that forms the protoplast. So no cell wall is there in protoplast. Protoplast can be prepared from gram-positive bacteria by treating the cell with enzymes such as lysosome, which destroy the cell wall. So protoplast can be prepared from gram-positive bacteria by treating with lysozyme enzyme, which will destroy the cell wall. So cell wall is destroyed and only cytoplasm and other cellular components are there. We can also prepare this protoplast by using antibiotics such as penicillin, which will prevent the formation of cell wall. So here we have to maintain such a protoplast or a cell without a cell wall in an isotonic medium, which is having the same osmotic pressure similar to that of protoplast. So we are preparing this protoplast in artificial conditions for experimental purposes. And this protoplast has to be maintained in an isotonic solution for keeping the balance between the medium as well as the bacterial cytoplasm. Then these protoplasts are actually fragile and they are spherical regardless of the original shape of bacteria. So whatever be the shape of bacteria, while once a protoplast is prepared from it, the bacteria will be always in a spherical shape and it is highly fragile. So we have to maintain it in an isotonic environment. So protoplast is actually a gram-negative bacteria without cell wall and it is prepared artificially by treating the bacteria with lysozyme enzyme or by treating with antibiotics like penicillin, which will inhibit the synthesis of cell wall. Use of protoplast. Protoplasts are used for DNA transformation. DNA transformation means transfer of DNA from one cell to another, and so it is used for preparing genetically modified organism. And if cell wall is present, then it will act as a blockage for the passage of DNA. So when the cell wall is absent in case of protoplast, then DNA transformation can be easily taken place. Then protoplasts are also used to study membrane biology, especially in the uptake of macromolecules as well as virus. So how macromolecules are uptaken by the bacterial cell, or how viruses infect bacteria, these all things can be studied by artificially preparing this protoplast. Next is spiroplast. Spiroplasts are protoplast itself, but they are prepared from gram-negative bacteria. So spiroplasts are formed from gram-negative bacteria, and it is prepared in the similar way that of gram-positive bacteria. But the peculiarity is that we know gram-negative bacteria possess an additional outer membrane. So the cell wall can be destroyed by treatment with enzymes or with antibiotics, but the outer membrane, it is flexible and it will remain without any change. So the cytoplasmic membrane and the cell components along with the outer membrane form the spiroplast. So the spiroplast is the protoplast of gram-negative bacteria, and the peculiarity is that cell wall is absent but the outer membrane of the gram-negative bacteria is present in spiroplast. Then use of spiroplast, it is also used for the DNA transformation, and bacterial spiroplasts with suitable recombinant DNA inserted in them can be used to transfect animal cells. So this spiroplast with the DNA can be used to transfect animal cells, means they are used to transfer DNA into an animal cell. And spiroplasts, they are used as a primary method for the discovery of antibiotics that inhibit cell wall biosynthesis. So they are used to test whether the newly created antibiotics have the capacity to inhibit cell wall synthesis. Next is volatilin granules. Volatilin granules, they are composed of pyrophosphate. We know that phosphate are a source of energy. So they serve as intracytoplasmic source of pyrophosphate. So volatilin granules, they are granules that are seen in the cytoplasm of bacteria. They serve as an intracytoplasmic source of phosphate for this bacteria. And these volatilin granules, they are otherwise known as metachromatic granules because they show metachromatic effect. Metachromatic effect is that when it is stained with methylene blue, these volatilin granules, they will appear red. So volatilin granules can be detected by means of staining it with methylene blue, and in staining these volatilin granules, this pyrophosphate deposit, they appear red color. So our first module, that is the bacterial cell wall structure and the components, all are finished by this. Thank you.